Welcome to Voice of Feathers Tarot. If you clicked on this video, I want to say thank you. I do hope that you'll stick around, and I trust that there's going to be a message in here for you. I've already pulled a few cards, and we'll pull more as we get throughout the reading. I've taken a little sneak preview of the first two cards, and I was also getting some strong feelings in my body around these messages that I'm receiving as well. So I'm getting like a feeling in my stomach, and I have since I woke up actually in my solar plexus. So you might be experiencing some problems with digestion, or feeling very nervous in the stomach is another thing that I'm getting. So those are just some heads up. So if you've been experiencing symptoms like that, this message may resonate more strongly with you, but that doesn't have to be the case. First card at the heart of the reading is the Eight of Crowns. I should mention that I'm using the Goblin Market Tarot, so some of the card names are a little bit different. So the Eight of Crowns is the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords represents a self-imposed, usually I say imprisonment, but this time Spirit was telling me self-imposed confinement. So there's a specific element to that message. Some of you may be keeping yourself confined at this time to maybe like a particular, I'm hearing even a particular area of the house. You might be keeping yourself confined to your room or something like that. I'm getting like a sense of fear, like you don't want to step out into the world at the moment. And I don't know, there's a lot of fear around indecision as well. So I think that whoever's resonating with this message, you're someone who is a little unsure of where to go next in their life, and it's starting to weigh on you physically. If you weren't aware of this consciously, then the physical symptoms are there to let you know that this is what's going on. So I'm getting that there is a self-imposed limitation around putting yourself out there, around trying new things, or around even leaving the house. So there could be like some very extreme anxiety around leaving the house at the moment. So if this is resonating with you, I'm getting for the blockage, so the card that's crossing the Eight of Crowns here, I'm getting what is typically the Strength card, but it's called the Secret Way in the Goblin Market Tarot. So what I'm getting here is like, yeah, that sense of fear. The thing that's keeping you trapped, stuck, or bound is a feeling of fear. And it's the fear of not knowing the way, or the fear of not knowing how to proceed. And it's causing you to remain stuck and stagnant in your life at the moment. Let's see what you are conscious of. My ears are ringing very, very loudly at the moment. So confirmation that the message is being heard by the right person is what I just got there. So Seven of Wands. Okay, so you feel outnumbered. You feel like you don't have a chance in hell is what I heard. I heard I don't have a chance in hell. And this is causing you a great deal of distress in terms of your in terms of what's going on in your body. What I'm getting is that you, with the Strength card there being as the challenge position, I'm getting it's not that you're not strong in a mental capacity. It's that you are out of touch with your body. So you're not actually able to align with situations and opportunities that would be for your highest good, because you ignore the signs that come from your body in terms of the symptoms that you're getting. I hope that's making sense. So it's almost like you're mentally like aware that you're in a good position in life, but there's something to do with fear, and it might be related to the past. It could be past traumas or anything like that. We'll see what comes out in the next couple of cards. But yeah, I'm getting that the longer you let this go on, it might even start to, or it might have already started to mimic like a mental illness. But here's the thing, I'm getting so much insight from you. I'm getting that you are aware of, like, mentally you are aware and you are all there. There's nothing going wrong there. It's just that your body's in a state of like feeling really unwell, and it might be bringing you down in terms of like feeling like you don't have the strength or the fortitude uh to take the next step in life or to make big life-changing decisions. But yeah, I'm getting that it can mimic like a mental illness, maybe even to other people, but to you, you're fully aware of what's going on, completely aware. um I do think there are a few mental limitations, obviously, with the Eight of Crowns being the Eight of Swords. Um, and this could be like the idea that you're not safe if you don't leave this particular area of confinement. Um, I think that this is coming up as like a warning for you. Um, I'm actually getting something really specific here. So, if you have been experiencing like an onslaught of infections or colds and flus, anything viral like that, if it seems like all year you've been sick or things like that are happening, you might feel like, oh, that's not worth going out. I should just stay home because I can't afford to get sick anymore. Um, I'm hearing that that is the self-imposed limitation here, that you falling ill with these viruses, or whatever it might be, this is just your body trying to tell you something. So until you listen, it's going to keep happening. Okay, so yeah, if there's any kind of mental limitation, that's what I'm getting. Make sure that you get out in the sun. I'm hearing that the vitamin D is going to be really, really important. And yeah, I'm like, I was getting before like silver butterflies and humpback whales. So this might resonate with some of you, but I'm hearing like if you go whale watching, I don't even know if that's the right time of year to do that, but doing something like that, like going out and witnessing like something remarkable in nature, um, going out and identifying species of butterflies is another thing that I'm getting, particularly silver ones. So, have you ever seen a silver butterfly? I don't know if I have, but now I'm inclined to sort of go out and see if I can spot one. So that might have been a little bit of a mess, but I feel that these synchronicities are coming through for the viewer to understand that they're in the right place. So it's going to make sense to the people that it's meant for. So yeah, you're in a position of advantage, but you just don't feel like you are because you've been beaten down by a physical illness and it's starting to affect you mentally, even though you're completely sound of mind, is what I'm getting. So um, take that if it resonates. So for the unconscious influences, I've got the Porter of Crowns. Again, Crowns corresponds to the sword suit in this deck. It's interesting, because typically I look at the Page of Swords as somewhat of a spy, someone who's sort of like peeking in on a situation, or yeah, they're sort of like they're watching others. But here I'm getting that what you don't know, or what's unconscious, is how many eyes are on you at the moment. And I think that this could be feeding into uh this issue of not feeling strong enough to break out of your cage. It's that there's a deep-seated fear of being perceived, being seen, being witnessed in your power, being witnessed in a position of advantage, because it's then that you feel like others can take you down. So this is coming through to make you aware of it, to make you aware that, okay, this might be why you're acting in certain ways at this time. This might be why life is taking a particular turn at this time. So that's really what I'm getting there. I've got to say, like, I really hesitated when trying to record this reading. I felt like, I don't know, anxious, or like it wasn't the right time to start. I think that's feeding into the message here as well. I'm getting a lot of uncertainty around when is the right time to make a particular move, or when is the right time to make a change in your life. And I'm getting it's a lot to do with being seen. Your public image is being highlighted here. Let's see what the past influences are, because I feel that there was something about the past coming through. Number 5, the fairy wiseman. So this would be the Hierophant. Hierophant represents traditional institutions and ways of thinking, but it's also a card of a more spiritual nature as well. So it can, okay, I'm hearing it could be the influence of the church. So if you had a past with the church, there might have been some ways of being that in the particular community were not upheld as a way to be. If that's resonating with you, you're going to know what that particular thing is. Or it might not even be an involvement in that particular institution. It could be having family members that were. So maybe you had religious family members who simply didn't like you having tattoos or piercings or having a certain hair color, things like that. Anything, it can be anything. It could be your sexuality. I'm just getting that there are some traumas from the past in terms of the views and expectations that others and institutions and society had of you, and you're now trying to sort of like transform like the silver butterfly. And I think that mentally you think that you've shed those limitations and those perceptions from others, but I'm getting that where it remains is coming out as symptoms in your body. Forthcoming influences is the 7 of platters. The platters are the pentacles in this deck. So the 7 of Pentacles is about starting to see the seeds that you've already planted germinate. And I want to talk a little bit about the Goblin Market Tarot here for a second, because it's based on the poem called The Goblin Market. And it's a little bit of a long poem, so I'm not going to like read it out or anything. But do check it out if you're interested. In summary, it talks of 2 sisters, and they've heard through folklore or through their ancestors or whatever, you know, not to go looking for goblin men and not to engage with the fairy realm because of the bad things that can happen, because of the temptations that they can offer. And the goblin market has all of this amazing bounty of fruits to offer. And one of the sisters, I forget if it's Lizzie or Laura, but one of the sisters, she ultimately succumbs to the goblin market and eats the fruit. And some bad things happen to her, essentially. I won't go too far into the story, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because with the 7 of platters or pentacles coming out in the forthcoming, it's talking about seeing the results of the seeds you've planted. And I'm getting that some of those results come as a consequence of seeds you didn't want to plant. Like you get weeds as well, right? So the weeds might be just those unconscious biases or just internalized mechanisms of thinking or believing in certain things. I was also picking up on the message before about skepticism. So, yeah, like, and I just got some weird tooth pain, which is definitely not actually mine because I don't have a sore tooth or anything like that, but it was just like a weird twinge. So I don't know if that's resonating with anybody here. Yeah, I was picking up on something about someone who's very traditionally skeptical, and they've actually been they've been they've formed those opinions of skepticism due to trauma of their experiences in the past with spirituality, or having other people's spirituality sort of pushed onto them. So there's multifaceted messages in this reading. But yeah, I think that whoever's resonating with that side of things, like if you found yourself in this reading and you're watching it, then there's a little part of you that's curious about things of a spiritual nature. You might even be a physical scientist, you know, you might be involved in that kind of work, and this seems a little bit taboo, or it seems a little bit left of field for you. Even reading tarot cards, you know, like my grandmother, she was a Roman Catholic, and she read tarot cards, and her daughters even would say, oh, you know, I don't do that because it's against my religion. But she did, you know, and she would read the coffee grounds, and she was a divination witch through and through. And I've been blessed with those abilities from her. Those are the seeds that she planted that have blossomed in me. Okay, but for some people, it still doesn't sit right with them. So that's coming through strongly, that soon, if not now, but I'm getting soon, that you're going to start to see, I don't know, just consequences or evidence of these seeds being planted, and they're starting to grow. And it's good and bad. So I'm getting that there's going to be some weeds with the good things. I feel like that took forever to get to the message, but we'll move on. The advice is the 9 of Cups. Okay, so you basically can't go wrong if you are following what feels good and what feels truly satisfying. So there's a difference between like doing things that you think fit like a prototype of what your life should look like, and continuing to do them even though you're not really feeling satisfied, or you're feeling a bit burnt out or something. There's a difference between that and actually just sort of like having, what would you call it, like a sense of surrender, I suppose, in just being like, well, I don't actually have a plan. But I'm going to follow what feels good and what feels right and what feels like it should be my purpose. And then as long as it keeps feeling good, I'm going to keep doing it. That's what's evidenced here for you. That's what's being highlighted. So I'm hearing that once you start to do that, you follow your sense of satisfaction, that's when some of the physical symptoms will die down, if you're experiencing those, or if you're not experiencing overtly physical symptoms, like I'm really getting stomach issues. It might just be like that sense of low-level anxiety or fear around things. Yeah, it's just like follow your bliss is what I'm getting. For the external influences, I've got the 8 of Cups. This is also can also represent how others are perceiving you or the situation. And I'm getting that this is sort of like feeding into that 8 of Swords or 8 of Crowns that I was getting in the beginning. You might be limiting yourself and your ventures because you're aware that people are seeing you move on from a particular way of being, and you're scared of the commentary on that, or you're scared of absorbing the energy or influence of other people's opinions. So you might be a little unsure of how much to put yourself out there and to who. But just remember that with the 8 of Cups, the person who's walking away is only doing so for their own higher good. They're moving on to higher grounds, onto better things. They're leaving past things that served them in the past but aren't serving them anymore. So you might get judgment from others, but the right ones will eventually see that all you've done is follow your happiness. And if they didn't want that for you, then it's their loss. Really, it is. For the hopes and fears, we've got the Seven of Cups. So interesting, we've gone from the 9 to the 8 to the 7 here. This is representing hopes and fears. Seven of Cups is about that sort of mental confusion of having multiple choices. I'm getting like multiple interests. And I heard the word polymath then. So some of the fears you might have are around having multiple interests, skills, or talents, and feeling the pressure to niche down. It's like people want to know you as one thing, but you're so multifaceted and so talented and skilled in so many different areas that that's just you're never going to fit a mold like that. And I think that in the past, you've really tried to. And it's just no longer working. Like I see you sort of expanding out of the mold, like really breaking out of it, breaking free from it. That's what it is. So the self-imposed confinement, it's not a cage, it's a mold. And you don't fit in it anymore. And that's why you're feeling discomfort. Let's look at the outcome. Lady of Cups is the Queen of Cups. So yeah, okay. So if you've come from a more, I don't know why I'm hearing theoretical. You've come from a more theoretical, or, you know what I'm getting? I'm getting like someone who's a medical doctor, kind of like leaving that field and going into alternative medicine or something of that nature, like something that feels more heart-centered. And I'm getting that, for some reason I'm getting a career message now. Whatever you've done for your career, you went in wanting to help people, and then in the system that you were in, with the Hierophant here in the past influences, those institutions, traditional institutions, might have actually found that you aren't able to help people in that job like you thought that you could, or like you thought that you would. So this is you deciding, you know what, it might look unconventional to people, but this is how I feel. This is how I know in my heart and in my soul that I can help people. I just saw 1212 on the clock there. So if that resonates, that could be a synchronicity or an angel number for you, 1212. Okay, so lots in this reading. I feel like it's kind of like I'm getting it's sort of almost like 3 mini readings. I just want to look at the bottom of the deck for the potential energy. The 9 of Crowns is the 9 of Swords. The bottom of the deck is energy you want to invoke or avoid, depending on how you take it. So with the 9 of Swords being about that insomnia, sleepless nights, and anxiety, mental anguish, I'm getting that that's something you want to avoid. And the way that you do that is by following your bliss. And I'm getting that there's been an emphasis to make a decision, something that's final, finite, on paper, so that when you see people at the family gathering or you see people at the party or wherever it is, you can say, yes, this is what I'm doing, this is who I am, and it can be a very short, simple thing and people understand it. I don't know why I just lost my train of thought there. But yeah, so the way that you avoid feeling anxious and mental anguish around having to make a decision is not making a decision. You make little micro decisions, sure, but you do it heart-led and soul-led and spirit-led. And yeah, I'm getting like you're learning new skills in terms of like how to shift the conversation. And this is like something that's happening on a collective level. We're shifting conversations. We're moving on from questions like, oh, what is it that you do for work or for a living or whatever? We're not we're not asking those questions anymore. Or if people are asking them, you're pivoting and asking them different things, like, you know, working on any projects that excite you lately is something that I heard as an alternative to asking people what it is that they do, because then it's shifting from like, oh, what do you do for work, to like, what are you passionate about? What are you excited about? Tell me about it. Yeah, so these seeds that were sown in the past of trying to keep you suppressed and small, minimized, and ultimately like molded into society's image, you're really breaking free of that, and it feels uncomfortable, but I think that it's supposed to. It's sort of like a purging. You're really challenging ideas and models of what it means to help others and to serve others, and you're being unapologetic about it. So in the forthcoming, I'm getting this is around the Lionsgate portal as well. So 8/8, the 8th of August. I'm getting that around then you're going to be a lot more comfortable where it is that you are and where it is that you're going. And you're not going to have that fear of like telling people what it is that you are working on, or telling people what it is that you want to do next. Or even admitting that you don't want to do anything next. You just are happy where you're at. So that is what I'm getting for your message. I hope that it reached whoever it was meant for. I trust I'll see you in the next reading. Thanks.